What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes podcast, some idle chatter, and this time we have Joon as always, and we also have MK. So say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, what is up?
So today we're gonna kind of do a post-mortem of the anniversary event, go over the heroes. We all pretty much have a little bit of a different perspective and had different experiences with all the heroes, so should probably just jump right into it. And I don't know, Joon, MK, which one do you want to take over first? We're gonna go over Drake. Drake's the hero that everybody loves to hate right now because nobody wanted to use their scrolls on him. So if you're not building the hero, you want him to be garbage, don't you? So I'll let one of you guys take over and give your first impressions of the hero.
All right. Well, I guess my first impressions of Drake were I got it so wrong. When I first saw Drake, I was like, okay, this guy's gonna deal loads of damage in PvE, and I thought, okay, his ability to remove the debuff is cute. Turns out it's the complete opposite. The debuff is what makes Drake absolutely amazing. And in PvE, you've seen there's loads of content out there featuring Drake in PvE, and the damage he can deal is incredible. So there's people that are going to moan about him saying, "Oh, he's a PvE focused hero," but a lot of the time that's what people want to focus on in the game anyway. And I think it's a nice way to easily complete broken spaces if you've got a Drake to hand. So I like that. And also recently interesting things for me anyway. I just recently built an E5 Russell, and adding Drake to that team, it just opened everything up. I was trying him without Drake, and Russell was doing decent damage, and I was winning fights against most people, but there was one guy I just couldn't beat. And I threw in the Drake, and just being able to deal consistent debuffs and marks to opponents was hurting their tanky heroes. It was making killing Russells a lot easier, because if you hit a Russell with the added damage and then you get the Russell passives going off, it was making it easy to kill Russells. Same thing for Sherlocks as well, because they're marks. It just removes his really pesky ability to swap health. Like I was getting to a point where the Sherlock had no more abilities to swap anymore, which was also really nice. So I think on the right team, he can also work in PvP. I don't know what you guys think, but that's my findings.
Well, that's actually a good point on Sherlock. Is Drake has a mark, and marks really eat through Sherlock's cards essentially. So I actually didn't even think about that part of it, of him basically not being able to health swap because he's too busy trying to cleanse off those marks. So
Yep.
Yeah. My experience with Drake it's been pretty limited. I've had access to a couple of viewers' accounts that have let me kind of mess around on their stuff on stream, and it's mostly been in Aspen Dungeon. So just seeing his potential for Aspen Dungeon. I'll speak a little bit about that. I saw GDP his stream last night. I think he was showcasing it with a more offensively built with a dildo and a HD attack stone. Whereas I was using something a little more tankier, so a magic stone sword with an HP, just to see if the black hole could you could kind of leverage that moving forward to snowball that damage. But that's my experience with it was it was okay, but it was in the earlier stages of Aspen Dungeon, so it's really hard to say the potential moving deeper into Aspen Dungeon because I haven't had deep runs with Drake on the team. He usually ends up dying too early or the team falls apart, and that's usually the case for Aspen Dungeon. I've seen a little bit of the content that's been put out, like MK was saying, with the great damage you can see. I'd actually be curious to hear your guys' opinion, if you have come across it, how he would do as a 10-star. Because people that are running on a budget or that kind of weren't able to save up the 2,000 scrolls, or they kind of low-rolled the event, it'd be interesting to see if a 10-star would be able to do something similar to what Amun-Ra does. A lot of people still have 10-star Amun-Ras. They didn't go all the way to E5, just to keep the food costs low. But that ability to strip the armor is just such a powerful ability that hasn't existed. That's brand new design space from the devs, and I'm always championing, and I love it when a new design space starts to be explored, because it opens up so many new avenues, new synergies, and for truly budget players that don't have the food to take from 10-star to E5 to make it PvP viable, and maybe Aspen Dungeon viable, where you need full stats and full gear and all the HP and attack you could possibly need. The 10-star versions, I'm actually pretty interested, but I haven't built mine up yet, so I've yet to experience it. But did you guys do any testing at all with the 10-star in any of these situations, or was it just E5 and then just take it for a ride?
I don't think I've come across anybody that's had a non-E5 one so far.
Yeah.
It's either they have an E5 or they have like 4 or 5 copies in the bag, something like that. But now that you speak about a lower level Drake, I mean, I'd be actually interested to see for a newer account how far a solo or like a Drake can actually get you in Aspen. I figure he can probably get you to death, honestly. Especially after watching
He
Joon's
slaps
Aspen
really
runs today, they were like amazing, amazing damage.
hard.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting thought because whenever I think of Aspen Dungeon, I always think about, right, I want to get my first E3 as soon as possible that can deal with Aspen Dungeon. But I've never considered just one 10-star being able to get far, because I get the whole having one 10-star thing, but it's building a Drake early. How does that help in Aspen Dungeon?
Yeah, it'll be
But
interesting to see because overall, I mean, I don't think I'd rank him up very high as I always like to say the first, or you always say, MK, the first M or E3 hero. I always talk about your first E5 hero who you should build. I don't think you'd put him up there, one, just because he's dark, but his PvE damage isn't all that great. He's a support hero when it comes to PvE as well, so I feel like nobody's really going to build him until they have like 2 to 3 other heroes. But that is a good point about a 10-star because you always build a Heart Watcher to 9 or 10-star. I
yeah,
feel like early game of Drake, even just a 9-star or a 10-star Drake could be huge for your PvE damage, going through all the raid bosses, doing your broken spaces early on. I mean, he probably could get away in broken spaces with like an Amun Ra or Belrain.
Yeah.
Could work.
The dodge is real. I mean,
Yeah.
the dodge is such a. I was shocked actually. Like, I didn't pay too much attention when all the information came. I mean, that week. Let's just rewind back 2 weeks, right? We got hit with so much information every single day, and I was streaming as well, trying to keep like up with the information, but I didn't realize that his dodge chance, which is even higher than carries, which just puts him in a really unique situation. He's really squishy. He's an assassin. Again, we spoke a bit about it before we went live, but there was a point in time where every hero attacked slot 1, and the random effect was something relatively new, but now we're getting this targeted effect by these possibly meta heroes like Drake, and that's a nice shift to see. And that ability is, he has a very unique toolkit, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And the ability to remove armor, all these things kind of add up, and it creates a really interesting hero. Now, a lot of people are kind of dogging on him and saying that like he's not what we were expecting, like a carry. He is no carry, and I think everyone will agree there. But I think his utility is still there, and again, the potential, like MK was saying, like he was running a Russell comp, and he was like, let's try this and just swap in a Drake and see what happens. The synergy there, and that ability to target the weakest and Russell targeting the weakest, that synergy that exists is actually very powerful, even whether that's in PvP or PvE, it seems.
it's interesting you mentioned him being squishy because I've been recently trying him with Ruyi's Scepter, which gives him HP and then split armor.
That's
and this
true.
is for PvP. And I've consistently been noticing, whether it's me using them or even against opponents, Drake's just due to that dodge ability and a decent healing team. So if you've got Belrains in there to heal, Drakes are frequently making it to the final 2 heroes standing. And I've had carries popping back up because a Drake has managed to just dodge enough attacks and not die.
Oh, yeah. The 60% dodge is crazy. Like, crazy.
Yeah,
high. There's a reason why they got rid of dodge way back when. Because it was an issue, and now all of a sudden, it's not really an issue. Just give it to the new heroes, you know. And I mean, I'm showing a fight right now. I don't know if you guys have the stream up as well, but I mean, we got a Drake up right now. Both carries have died. One of the other heroes has died. He's still kicking. He's still going on strong. Now he died, but I mean, he's not as squishy as you would think. You don't need a crown on him. You want him attacking first. He's the fastest hero in the game. You give him Rui. Even if you're not all the way up to date on Celestial Island speed, chances are you're probably going to be the fastest, which is very, very important for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. That armor, the armor reduction in the speed itself, like giving him either the AMB or the Receptor. But that effective HP, I think, is something that we don't talk about too often. But dodge, DR, true DR, those 3 stats. Even though you look at the hero sheet, you might think, oh, he's only got 5-6 million HP on that hero page. But when you actually look at the course of a battle, whether it be PvP or PvE, that dodge chance, if you were to count the times he dodges an active, a carry active especially, or dodges just the basic, and you're saving so much. Well, saving your energy for dodging a carry. That's just the high roll of high rolls. But the fact that you can dodge pretty much anything outside of like the passives from Garuda or Tara that are like the meta heroes, but that effective HP that dodge provides them at 60% too. Because again, that blew my mind away. I was like, wait a second, and then I got immediately excited. I was like, I think I have to roll my scrolls. I was thinking of skipping, but I think I want some copies of this guy because it just 60% is just absurd, especially when you consider carry. And
carry got 40. So I mean, he has
still dodging.
Yeah, he's got the same exact armor as Carry, 1554 by default. Carry only dodges 40%, and that extra 20% feels huge. Like, as you guys were talking, I did a fight on screen here. He dodged Russell's active, he dodged a Russell regular arrow, like, he just flickers out of the way. It's like, oh, look at that, I'm still full health. And that really is his strength right there. If they ever introduce something that boosts dodge, which I hope they don't, like an artifact or anything, I mean, Drake's going to be a serious pain.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they introduce an artifact that gives dodge.
Yeah, or
like, that would just be pay to win.
Or an upgraded artifact that gives dodge or something.
Yeah. Top tier.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not that god tier unit everybody wanted that was hoarding. I mean, I like heroes like this, though. I really do, because it makes it so that it's not, okay, well, wait 2 more months, and then we're just going to build 3 more of them, and then for the next 6 months, we're just going to have 4 of this hero in the meta. And if you don't have it, well, I guess you can have a good chance in Chinese New Year or something like that to have a chance to come back. I feel like this way, it's to the point where, yeah, people who do save up, it can feel bad because you're almost banking on that meta-changing hero. But at the same time, if every hero comes out a little more on the balance side and not completely broken, you can take the time and look at the new hero releases and say, does this synergize with this team? Like, I think I told Joon this last week, is when Garuda came out, like, nobody was building Garuda. Nobody, because they were all saving for Christmas and Chinese New Year. And I looked at the hero and I looked at the kit and I'm like, I have 4 scaries. That actually synergizes really well. And I was like, I'm just going to build her. And from there, I went on to beat like every single team in PvP with scaries. And that's just because we were still like in the mid game. I had 3 E5 scaries, I think, at that point. Maybe 4. I can't remember. But I was like, I didn't have PvP power at all. Everybody else was building light and dark. And I was like, this hero changed it for me. It wasn't a light hero. It wasn't a dark hero. But it helped my team. And it helped my team for a really long time. So if we do get heroes like this, I mean, yeah, Russell's a lot stronger, but Russell's, again, you can't just throw him in any old team and have him work. You really can't. It's going to make a more diverse PvP environment. It's going to make it not as punishing for people who can't do heroic scrolls as often as people who pay. I don't know if you guys have the same opinion on that. It's kind of how I'm feeling, though.
Just to touch on that, let me play devil's advocate here. What are your thoughts, both of you, on a double Drake team? Have you guys seen, or have you seen anyone in the community that's been rocking double Drake?
I mean, GDP is
close,
the way
his mark stacked.
I think GDP has an E4 and an E5, but he didn't get enough.
Okay, that's.
I think.
Because there's that. If you want to just go over to the skill there, the way that Black Hole works, right? The second time he targets the weakest unit. So if you have 2 in your lineup and they're speedy, the first one will hit it, strip the armor, get that really big hit. When the second one falls up, is it percentage HP? It has a way of triggering it, so it doesn't stack, but it does an extra,
20%.
So that kind of gives people the incentive, like, what happens with 2? When you start running 2 with what you add to that, and then we're talking this like the Wild Wild West, where like we were talking before the stream, where it's like Faith Blades, right? Yeah. Like we're talking Faith Blades, multiple Faith Blades with double Drakes. It's like, what's gonna happen, right? But when 2 Drakes can become a reality and people start testing that, like, because there's a reason why they put, okay, well, it doesn't really stack per se, but if there's already a dark hole mark, it's gonna pop and it's gonna do that percentage HP. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he's a sleeper, right? It's possible that because everyone was sleeping on it at the beginning. It kind of fits the bill where it's like people are still sleeping on it. If you double up on it, maybe it ends up being something kind of crazy.
Yeah. Plus the whole assassin tag too, just instantly bad stigma. But I mean, they're making better assassins. They are. They're still squishy, but the meta's changing to actually let assassins be useful. I mean, like we saw, like Joon said, we were talking before the podcast started. We saw a video of someone had 3 Faith Blades, an Ithaca, a Russell, or not a Russell, a Drake, and an Ada. And that team was so fast. Every hero on offense went before anybody on the other team. And before the other team even got to do one ability, there was already one hero dead. And that's because you start off with the Faith Blades just slicing away, and then you had... Actually, you know what? I think they had the Drake the fastest out of that team, and then it was the Faith Blades, and once that mark was on that first target, the Faith Blades just melted it. Just completely melted it with energy. It was crazy. But I mean, yeah. What do you think, MK?
I think to go back to the double Drake thing, I thought this at first when Drake came out. The one thing that kept me up at night, I'm not even joking. I lay in bed thinking to myself, staring at the ceiling. I was like, everyone's asking, how do I build a team around Drake? No one's asking, why do I need this hero in my team? And I think it's interesting to think, all right, let's have 2 Drakes and see what happens. But the cost, you only get 6 heroes. Who are you taking out to put in that second Drake? And is it worth the sacrifice? And I was just thinking about, like, smirking to myself, thinking about this, like, who actually is, if you've got a solid team, let's just look at something real basic. I say basic, this is going to sound horrible to chat. They're going to be like, oh, don't call that a basic team, that's a whale team. But Russell, let's say you got 2 carries, you want a Belrain in there, and okay, you've got Russell carry Belrain, you've only got room for 2 more heroes at that point. Can you put in the 2 Drakes? You haven't got a Sherlock, you haven't got an Ada. If you need an Ada, you haven't even got a Garuda in there, even if you wanted Garuda. That's the interesting question. If you were going to take someone out to stick in your double Drakes, I get it could work, but is it worth the sacrifice? Unless you go all in, as you say, and then run like the multiple Faith Blades, and then it's looking like a team we've never even seen before, which actually kind of does excite me.
It's cool to see it work.
Abomination of assassins.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But the other big thing is, it really depends on what your server meta is. Like, I'm just scrolling through my meta here. It's essentially 3 carries and 2 Garudas on all the top teams. Like, all the very, very tippy top. They're still running at least 2 carries. Some of them, like, here's one that they have 2 carry, a Belrain, because Belrain still seems like she is absolutely essential in every single composition. Without her healing, you're going to die off too fast, not going to have time for actives. So it's 2 carries, a Belrain, Ada, Russell, Drake. I mean, that has no Sherlock in it, so that's already 1 carry you have to get rid of for the Sherlock to make it more optimal. I guess you drop something like the Ada?
Yeah,
I mean,
perhaps, yeah.
I feel like you still need 1 carry.
You mentioned something interesting that I just want to touch on. That the Belrain, the rise and fall of Belrain, the ebbs and flows of her entering and leaving the meta over the course of however long she's been on. I think that's a very, very interesting conversation to have. It's just how she's been around for so long, but just the fact that her and thank God her passive still works when she's sealed from Tara, like that death heal doesn't get affected. But it doesn't matter if she's alive, if she actives. If you can get Belrain to active, that speed buff for your team can just completely swing. That I mean, speed we always say is the god stat. That is the god stat in this game, and if you can find a way to fade the carry marks and all the incoming damage, it's just so powerful. She just does so much, but it seems like she's just a support hero for PvE, but she's just making huge waves now. And like Barry said, like, you need a Belrain to just to weather the storm and keep that sustainable. Whether it's a Tara core, whether it's the Drakes, it just doesn't matter. But having that sustain from her death or just her basic going off, and just the icing on the cake is when you get that active up, it's over. Like, it's such a powerful an ability.
Even if she dies right afterwards, it's like perfect. She basically, she probably actually doesn't get as much credit as she's due, but she essentially makes heroes viable. Like, if she wasn't in the meta, would Drake actually work, or would he die way too early? I mean, the whole point is you build her. You build her to die probably around 3 or 4-ish, somewhere around there, because usually the late rounds you don't need the healing as much. I mean, typically. But that on-death healing is just by far the best healing in the game. I even put her up in my Ormus lineup lately just to see who heals more. So she typically dies around round 4, round 5, and Ormus literally lives all 15 rounds, and she does about I say Ormus does about half to one third to half of what her healing is dead. Like he's up every round using actives, using basic attacks, and he's by far the highest output of heals in the game. And yet somehow that Belrain on death heal is just so powerful, especially coupled with a deer. And I think it really does make heroes like Drake viable that probably normally wouldn't. Like if we were still in the Amun Ra healer meta, I don't know if he'd actually live. I don't know. But speaking of light heroes, we should probably start touching on Russell as well, because a lot of teams are using one Russell and one Drake right now. Because the second Drake uses that active on somebody, Russell's extra little tiny arrows just shred them to pieces. Have you guys had much time to test with Russell?
Oof. I just did build an E5 one today. So most of my afternoon has just been spending arena tickets and arena tickets. And I have to say I can second every bit of that. When Drake gets his skill off and he's got that debuff and stripped away the opponent's stuff, it just makes Russell just eat away and just I like honestly, I can't stress how well the Drake and Russell synergy works in PvP. Because a lot of people that are moaning about Drake, I know this is kind of talking about Drake again, but they haven't tried him with Russell. And I was skeptical. I didn't even want Drake in my lineup. The moment I had an E5 Russell, that's changed. I need to see that happen. It's just a beautiful thing. And my favorite thing about the Russell thing is the passive. A lot of people get hype about his active skill, but that passive, it just chews away at the heroes that are going to die anyway. So carries just got back up. Oh, you're back down again. Or even better, we were talking about this before the stream, that Russell's passive, if you can get it to eat away a Sherlock isn't going to do his heal flip until Russell's passive has finished. So if you can chew away at a Sherlock and actually kill the Sherlock before the passive's over, then that Sherlock, he dead. He ain't going to flip. It's not the moment he's down, he got to wait for Russell to finish. So if Russell hasn't finished, it's a dead Sherlock.
It's a stressful thing having two Russells. The hardest thing to beat right now are the Sherlock teams on my server because I don't have carries and things like that. I do have the double terror, so you got to pray for that seal, but like you're saying, it's that game. I'm like, all right, use your active, and I'm like, all right, just watch Sherlock's health. Is it going to be enough? I'm like, come on. And he gets down to one sliver, and then I'm like, no, that was the last arrow. Boom, full health. I'm like, oh, no. All right, next Russell. All right, hello. No, it flipped again. It's like, you got to just have enough. But, I mean, the one thing you were talking about with Russell, with those extra arrows, is his holy damage, getting 60% natively from a passive. You couple that with a holy damage attack stone, I mean, you're really ramping up that damage. Have you been running him tanky, or have you been using him like with attack enables?
In PvP?
Yeah, I don't have a fully tuned one, so yeah, MK can speak on this for sure.
In PvP, I've been building him. Let me just get my build up. I've actually been building him with tanky armor, so it's half ranger, half 6-star.
Okay.
I'm currently leaning into the Golden Crown.
Yep.
And I also have been using his enables. They've been growth to actually maximize his speed.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And I've been using vitality as well because I've got the Belrain on my team and I just want to keep him alive. It's
huge extra.
I think vitality is the sleeper enable right now. If you're using Belrain, it makes her heals so much more insane.
No, I definitely agree. I think I have it on every single hero right now. I feel like it's so much better than Shelter. The one thing I was considering is Lethal Fight Back, but I think we have to do some testing first to make sure those arrows are actually dealing the extra damage as well, and make sure it actually, because, you can't just assume that in Idle Heroes. You have to test everything to see if anything's bugged, if it's actually working right. But yeah, I'm pretty much running the same style build. The only thing I always go back and forth with Russell is Purify versus Resilience.
Huh.
And I guess it really depends on your meta, because Purify is not going to do anything to like Sherlock's birds. I mean, if you're a bird, you're kind of screwed. I feel like really the big thing Purify is dealing with nowadays is still those ADA marks. Like, I feel like that's the big one. Or not the healing debuff, sorry.
I am going to have to disagree on that one.
Really?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing Purify gets rid of is carries energy steal marks.
That's true.
That is that's the thing that if I'm we were talking about this before stream as well. If I'm looking at a hero who's got like 80 or 90 energy and one of those marks on them.
That's
If
true.
I can get to the end of the round without getting to max energy, I'm removing that mark. And someone was saying to me, "Is there a point running Purify anymore?" And I just think I'm so scared of energy steal from carries
Yeah.
that I couldn't remove Purify personally from my heroes.
Oh yeah, I've been running Purify just from the pure stance of it feels better. But getting
Mm.
down to is it really worth it or not? I think it is. Of course, when you're talking about Aspen or something like that, it does feel like Resilience is infinitely better for him there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I actually did a run earlier today that, of course, I got like 4 Valkyrie waves, which was absolutely fun. I love it. Amazing going in depth with Aspen. But I ran one with the new Punisher staff, the level 2 one that I upgraded. Way too squishy. I mean, Russell with a crown feels like it's necessary. The resilience feels good too, but I did find out one really cool thing, and that's Russell's easily take on solo Valkyrie waves. That was one thing I was really happy about. Those solo Valkyries, she has no chance whatsoever. And then I ran the one with the Punisher staff, and I think my biggest crit from an active was 25 million. Yeah, yeah, I can see June's face there. Like that can take out a lot of
Those
heroes all
numbers
the
are
way
too
up.
big. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem with him,
Um,
though, is of course those dots and everything killing him. But how are you liking him, June
what are your
and
thoughts?
Aspen?
Well, so in Aspen, I've only had the pleasure of using one so far. I want to say I could be mistaken. There could be two, but they haven't been fully tuned. So it's really hard to give an accurate assessment of how viable he'll be in Aspen Dungeon. But just to touch back on the PvP thing that MK was saying, it's definitely a real thing. That's synergy that I guess by design, right? They put Drake and Russell out for a reason. One is unfortunate behind a paywall, but that synergy that they've created where it's the ticking of those arrows and the really quick Drake to get someone weak, and then if the Russell can get in the air and fire that off, the follow up is just always there, and it's just maximizing those HD arrows just pecking away. And watching the Sherlock, I was able to experience that as well. That was super satisfying. Just sitting there staring at a Sherlock that just ticks away, and then you're like, oh, it's just not gonna stop until it dies, and then you're just like, oh, he's dead, right? And same with the Ruda, because the unbending will and heroes dying are like when you're on offense and you're trying to win and you're like, please no one die. That Garuda already has unbending will triggered, has like 10% HP, and you're just like, please no one die. And then you got Russell just coming in, ticking with the arrows, just targeting not the other heroes but the weakest one, which is the Garuda, and you just see the unbending will triggers pop, and then it goes a couple more, and then you're like, and then the threat is gone, right? Their burst hero is usually the Garuda, so then that usually just turns the tide of battle. So that ability to, I mean, it's the light hero, right? It's the light hero to have this year of 2020. It's gonna shape the meta moving forward. But that ability to just pretty much put on ice the non-LDs, which is the Sherlock, which is making waves, and Garuda, that's been part of the meta for months and months now, ever since the release. So it's interesting to see the way that he counters and synergizes with Drake. Sorry, doesn't counter Drake, but counters the heroes that are kind of the non-LD meta right now, and also synergizes with the release hero together. I think that's super exciting stuff. But as far as Aspen Dungeon goes, I think there's still some time. I still need to get those stones up in the proper artifacts, but he seems the potential seems good, because I usually turn to you, Barry, for that stuff, because your stuff you have the 2 up, but the potential to fight I mean, people know me from the stream, but it's just so annoying fighting the Oberon waves and being able to get in the air just with the demon. I mean, it is a hack, but I mean, use the demon potion, get him in the air, just so the Oberon can't twine him, because that twine is just, it's death of me. It is the death of me. It just ruins all my runs. So yeah.
Yeah, even if you got a Unimax with the torch on him, it's like I saw earlier, 14 rounds that man stayed in CC. 14 rounds. And it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess you win eventually, but it's nice to have a hero that you can literally go up in the air, you're immune to all the twines, and then just active and go at it. But Russell's one big thing is you have to live to that round too. So when you're going against heroes like Valkyrie or something like that have that big burn dot, there's chances you might not come back down out of the air either. But I did want to talk about one thing you brought up too, and that was against Sherlock and poking away at him and basically killing him and beating him through that unbending will shield that absorbs 4 attacks. The one thing I do notice about Russell is he, in a way, I guess you could say he counters Sherlock as well, because Sherlock's power comes from people attacking him. And with the new heroes like Drake and Russell, they automatically dodge him completely. Like, none of their damage is going towards him. You're not wasting any damage on him. You're going after his support and his big burst damage dealers, killing them first, and then you have your whole team to work on that Sherlock. Where that's a big deal, because taking a Sherlock from 100% to 0 is really hard with one hero. Next to impossible. I mean, Garuda's probably one of the few that can actually do it, because of her attack, of course, multiple attacks. But Russell is one that can pick apart Sherlocks pretty well.
Yeah, it reminds me of like classic like tactics in well, pretty much any co-op or like multi-opponent game, is to always pick off enemies one at a time rather than try kill them all at once, because if you can lower the enemy DPS, you're going to take less hits yourself. And there is something satisfying about being able to kill just some of those early heroes to get them out the picture, so that you can then not have to worry about them whilst you go focus on the other people. So it definitely makes a lot of sense, especially just from a strategy standpoint.
Yeah. You guys have any final thoughts on Russell? I mean, the one thing I wanted to touch on before we moved on from Russell is his PvE damage. And speaking of Drake, that synergy. Because Russell's active, of course, hits all 3 targets in Flame Shrine, but his arrows hit the lowest target. And it's lucky enough that you can get Drake to go before Russell, as long as he's faster, and he will always have that 100% damage reduction, armor reduction, everything reduction on that front target for you, so that the Russell's arrows can just ping away. And I'll be honest, the first time I had Russell in Flame Shrine, he did really good damage. I think they did between like 1 and 2 billion on average, each one of them. I threw a Drake in there and instantly their damage doubled. One of them more than doubled, just because of that. Because he actually synergizes so well in PvE, because Drake's amazing, but he only leaves that mark on one target. And Russell loves that one target.
Yeah, I saw a guy.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw a guy get 20 billion against Broken Spaces 7, just with Russell and Garuda using a Drake. I was like, crap, I can do that next month. I can't wait to try that out.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. It's, again, I don't want to turn into the PvE Drake show again, because we just finished off with Drake, but we didn't really touch on the crazy numbers people are posting, like the screenshots from Broken Spaces, the Flame Shrines. It's just wild. Like, and that's what a lot of, I guess, if you look at the Samagot data mines, if you look at the actual stats of the bosses in the Flame Shrine, whether it's in Aspen Dungeon, Flame Shrine, Guild bosses, Broken Spaces, they're tweaked. So they have the same abilities, usually the ones pre-rework, but a lot of the stats are kind of amped up. The DR, the armor, those type of things are increased, and obviously they have 100% CC immunity. But things like marks, and I think that's where a lot of people saw Drake as an opportunity. When you read that skill in the preliminary leaks, it was like, oh, he's a mark. So immediately you think he's a PvE hero. And I think people took that idea and ran with it. But when you actually see where the dust settled, he is a PvE god. Like, he enables your team to do unreasonable amounts of damage. And just tossing him in a team that was already pushing the boundaries of PvE damage, like the Garuda core, any Garuda core with a Heart Watcher, you put those 3 together, and that's just, you just speak. But anyways, that's enough PvE ranting. But yeah, I think we definitely need to speak a little bit on the amazingness that Drake is for support, and the numbers. The numbers just been nuts.
Oh yeah, I mean, and one thing to just kind of finish off on Drake as well with that PvE side of things is, for the average player, he is game breaking in PvE. Now, if you're talking about optimal, he's actually worse than a 4th scary in a scary lineup, because of course he only hits one target. He's worse in the number 1 composition of the Delacium army. But for everybody else, guys, he is going to be what you need. You're going to want a 10-star Drake, I think. You're pretty much going to want your Heart Watcher and your Drake right next to each other. It does take up another slot, of course, so less support, less healers, less damage dealers. But if you're going for the Russells or the Garudas, you should be fine in PvE. So we'll kind of drop Drake there, because we could probably go on all night just praising Drake on the PvE side and talk about the viability as in PvP. But what we should probably talk about next is the hot topic one, even more so than Drake and Russell, and that's the overall anniversary event. Because we are in the 2nd week, we still got flips to do. I've seen people flip 12 cards and get 8 Russells. I've seen people flip 20 cards and get 0 Russells. So I'll probably let's give this to MK first. Let him get his ideas out. How have the flips been for you? How has your community received the event, and how much saltiness or happiness have you seen?
I have to say it's been a very, very big mixed bag. When I first saw the anniversary event, and I think this is true for a lot of my friends that I talk to on from Patreon, is we first saw it and we're like, oh, whoop-de ding dang do. There's a light hero hidden behind a paywall. Get lost, DH Games. That's not cool. But as it grew on us, we didn't realize how good these flips were going to be until we started doing them. Like, I mean, I'm talking from my personal experience where I did 5 flips, 3 of them were Russells. So I got really lucky early on, and then I carried on flipping, and I got no more Russells. And I think from a business standpoint, DH Games hit the nail on the head, because when you start flipping these things, you kind of don't want to stop.
The addiction
it becomes
factor.
super addictive. So for anyone that's light-fingered with their money, it's pretty dangerous. But I get that some free-to-play people are going to be a bit bummed out by this. But I was thinking about this. I wanted to make a video, or even just a meme. I think it was more of a meme for Reddit, where I got a picture of a dummy, and then a picture of someone who got 5-star heroes from heroic summons, and then just say that the dummy was better than the 5 heroic summons. Because you got to remember, a dummy is 6 5-star heroes. Yeah. And how many people moan about food? Like, just being able to get loads of dummies for free, the chance to get light and dark heroes for free, and the Russells just thrown in there for fun is nice. And people going, oh, I'm not going to build a Russell. In 2 months, when he's in the relic store, you'll be glad that you pulled those Russells. Because think about it, every Russell is 80 relics you don't have to spend.
Oh, yeah.
And if someone said you're going to flip and get 80 relics, you'd be all excited. So if you aren't a pay-to-win player and you get Russells, it's still a potential hero you could build in the future. So I think from the flip exchange thing alone, it's nice. It's good. It's healthy-ish. But then...
ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an important ish at the end.
Yeah. The rewards as well. The chance to get a choose your own artifact chest. We've not had that in ages, and I love it. So I liked it, but I spent, so what can I say?
Yeah. What do you think, Joon?
I'll bring this sane perspective here. The one that didn't spend. I have not spent yet. I've only bought the anniversary card. That's it. I haven't bought for any flips yet. I haven't spent a single gem on an extra scratch. So my experience has been very light, very free to play-ish if you exclude that anniversary card. But that anniversary card has really nothing to do with the event itself. So I think it's safe to say that my perspective is more towards the free-to-play side. And I'll say I've started doing some scratches. I'm exactly on the same boat as MK. It's like the devs, they know human psychology. They got a psychologist on deck, or they've got someone with a degree, because they know how to pull those strings, and it's very, very addictive. It's designed very well. And it's very strange. Like I like the point where you said, like, if you really think about it, and I was mentioning this when I was doing the viewer scrolls during my streams, but if you kind of take the perspective of every time you high roll an elite hero that you need, maybe it's a Sherlock, maybe it's a Garuda, and in this case we're talking about Russell, if you kind of view it as 80 relics or 60 relics, I think that really gives it some good context. Like, you're really getting a lot of value. And even if you don't get the Russells, people getting 9-star puppets, like for a flip that all you had to do was sign up for, like, there's so many great things. And of course, because the game has so many highs, there's going to be lows. So the low rolls are going to be like maybe the artifact fragments, right? Maybe like a regular elite shard. Like, no one's really dying for those. But the fact that a person that is completely playing for free or not paying for the event, you get 10 to maybe 12 free flips for the 2 weeks. I got a handful of Russells across a couple accounts, and I just see it as, okay, so eventually I'm going to have to build the Russell, or maybe I want to build the Russell, and it just goes towards saving, up 80 to 160 relics. So I think they really did hit their mark on this event. They gave people that have been hoarding gems and out. So if people had 30, 40, 50, 60,000 gems saved up, just expecting something crazy, there's that scratch card itch that you can just keep scratching, trying to get the flip currency, as well as people that just wanted to play for free. And you can high roll those 10, 12 flips, and again, people walking away 5, 6, 7, Russells is just amazing. So I really do think we'll look back at this event and we'll say that it might have been really weird at the beginning, a lot to complain about. But when you go through and see how much stuff was given for free, there's no comparison. There's no previous event. There's no other anniversaries. And I will keep saying this until it gets worse, but we are in the golden age of Idle Hero. It just keeps getting better. The devs are listening to some extent. They listen to us. They are communicating with us. The events are better. And as a free-to-play player or as a low spender, that's where I usually focus on. Is like, look at all the free stuff I'm getting. There's more food from Celestial Island. I didn't have to do anything for that. I just log in and tap a couple extra times, right? This, I just log in and I get to have the fun of flipping 10 cards. Maybe not 40, but flipping 10, right? It's still something. And you can always high roll. So I think they did good. They did good. And I mean, people will feel bad, but that's the nature of the game. It wouldn't be this exciting. We would not be sitting here, the three of us, talking about Idle Heroes if there weren't the swings. It's all about the swings. It's like sometimes you high roll, sometimes you low roll, and it's the high rolls that keep you coming back, right? So I think they did really well. Yeah, definitely.
And to talk about that, since you both have had a different perspective, I'll actually say I've had both across my 3 accounts. So of course the main account, I went all in, I got everything, and I've done it free to play 100% on both of my other 2 accounts. The event actually felt better on the free accounts than it did the one where we spent money on. It's going to sound weird, but I actually enjoyed and appreciated what I got more 100% free to play than I did getting everything until this last week, of course. This last week was it felt better if you are going to buy value packages. I don't know if you guys saw it or anything like that, but this little exchange button for every extra anniversary badge turned into a relic. So I do have 1,900 plus relics now, which is pretty much set for the rest of the year with whatever heroes I want to build when they come out. So that was a nice little perk. I wasn't expecting it to be that generous. But yeah, like on my free accounts, I hear people saying, "Oh, well, yeah, you got an Antlers cane, but everybody gets an Antlers cane." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's a valid opinion. Everybody gets it." But were you around a year ago where I probably had already spent 8 months, 9 months playing the game, and I'd never gotten a free to play artifact, especially not or a pay to win artifact. Sorry, that wasn't even as good as Antlers cane. I mean, like, without a doubt, this was like the highlight on my royalty meme team, was getting this Antlers cane to make so much more progress when it comes to PvE damage and everything. And yeah, it just felt really, really good. Yeah, I see all the rewards that I can't get, and that kind of sucks. But what I did get felt so good, and honestly was probably one of the top 2 to 3 events of the past year. I don't know if you guys would agree on that. I mean, Chinese New Year and Christmas, pretty hard ones to beat. Those have been by far some of the best events ever. By far.
Yeah. I would say, for me personally, like, I think a lot of people lose sight of why they play the game when we get events that give so much. And I've seen a lot of this on Reddit. People complaining about stuff that they could have rather than appreciating stuff they do get.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing where I play games, or at least the reason I got hooked on Idle Heroes is because of that adrenaline feeling that I think, Barry, you mentioned a little bit there, where when you pay to win, it's less fun. It's like modding a video game to get all the top stuff. Yep. It ruins the grind. It ruins the fun. But if you're free to play, and I think I kind of had this morning because I was in a mindset where I was like, okay, I have 4 flips left, and I know I can get a Russell from 25 out of 25 flips. I'm on 21. If I can get 2 Russells in these 4 flips, I have an E5 Russell. And I got 2 Russells. That final flip was a Russell. It was the best feeling because everything builds up. It's like double or nothing. Like, I'm either stuck with an E4 Russell for 2 months, or I get the E5 Russell now. And it's that feeling of letting it flip. And if you're a free-to-play player and you get that flip and even if it's a 6-star dummy that you just needed to finish that last hero and getting them to 10-star, or whether it's that 9-star fodder that means you no longer have to regress a hero you were going to get rid of, it's a good feeling. Even if you get the dark star, like the dark light and dark chest, either of them. I mean, if it's the Ada copy, you need to build up Ada. Or if it's the final carry copy, you need to get another E5 carry. There is a satisfaction of just getting the final piece and just placing it on top of the little castle you've spent forever building. And I think I think they smashed it out the park with this, and a lot of people aren't realizing it. Like free-to-play players, all of you, you focus on PvE more than PvP. And I noticed this with my tier list videos as well. People twice as many views on PvE tier lists because people care more about getting the big PvE damage because PvP's lost on them because they don't spend money on the game
It's
and they're getting bailed
obtainable.
out.
You can get that.
Yeah. So with something like this, it's just nice to get more fodder, more resources, and Antler's Cane is the best artifact in general for PvE.
Yep.
For free. Drake is a PvE god.
Yep.
Russell does insane damage in PvE. It's like the devs strapped on a helmet and went, okay, what do people like the most? It's PvE. We need to stop giving them PvP heroes.
Yeah.
Let's just give them stuff that shreds through the game mode that they love the most. So, okay, you can be salty that you don't win in Arena, but you've just doubled, tripled your damage in Broken Spaces. And that excites me more.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, the one thing I've been seeing in chat is one of the big complaints is, I guess you could say the mid spenders are the ones that kind of get, I guess they say they get the shaft on this one. I don't know. I can't really say. I don't know if either of you guys have only gotten partly in on this event. I mean, I've gone all in and not in at all on this. So, I mean, I feel like if you're that person who's, the mid spender, I imagine you could get 20 card flips. Does that sound about right, MK?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what I did. I actually got really annoyed at myself. I spent too much.
You went for the 25 flips, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I realized that I actually didn't need to spend as much as I did because scratches give you flip currency. And I was saying this before that we started going live, that every 10 of the currency you get to flip is $10 less you have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it like that, like I got excited. I was like, yes, this is $10 more. That's another pizza.
Yeah. It's another meal out. But yeah, I mean, the one thing that I think was underappreciated, and it'll feel weird for me too to say this, but I bought all 1,000 coins on the light account. I didn't get a single copy of Russell. And then yesterday I had 10 of them built up. I had 10 free coins from dailies built up. I got a Russell right at the end there. So I'm like, oh, it feels so bad. I just spent all those. I wanted a third Russell. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. And then I jump over to like my royalty team and I do like my 20. I'm like, I got a Russell in my first one. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me right now. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's RNG. But like you said, getting that event currency, the anniversary badges, was huge. And even for me, it felt better at the end because I was getting so many badges after already having the whole 40 flips done. Every time I rolled 10 scratch cards, I essentially got 10 anniversary currency. Which means that's rolling. I was basically spending 1,500 gems for 10 relics. I mean, I don't think you'll ever see a deal like that come again. Even on my bad luck, it would take like 4 scratch cards to get another 10 anniversary. And that's like, that's some crazy 6,000 gems for 10 relics. I would just keep hitting that button all day in the game if I could. Like,
Yeah.
Any hero you want. Any hero. And one thing I did want to say is MK does keep saying, just wait 2 months for Russell. And that's just optimism there. You never know. They might pull the same thing like last year. And we'll see Drake in 2 months and then see Russell in 6 months.
Ugh.
I really hope they don't do that to us. I tried to ask the devs that I'd talked to if they knew, and they said they have no plans on what they're doing just yet. I'm like, yeah, okay. I hope they don't, because that's going to be a whole nother wave of salt right there if Drake comes out but Russell does not.
Cue the complaining now.
Yeah, they have to put him in. They can't do. That's just evil. Oh,
I know.
We didn't talk about Ada though. We were talking about the things that we got for free, but that just got lost in the shuffle. I think. Like, how long has Ada been out, and people have just been clamoring to try to build her, and they wanted her. Like, we fought her once I believe in Heroic Miracles. Sorry, in Shelter, right? Was it just once since her release? And now that was a couple months ago, I guess. And now we have her for free because I mean, let's be honest. If you didn't start the game last week, everyone's getting that copy from Heroic Miracle, and then you get one from the. I'd assume everyone's gonna get to level 10 for that wine cooking award. So two copies.
You can do it free to play.
Nothing. Yeah, That's phenomenal, and that just added to the pool of amazing things we're getting for these 2 weeks. So it truly does feel like they're celebrating not only the birth of their game and the anniversary, but the players as well. And that's how I've always felt. Like if I were to ever run a gaming company, it's like it's once a year, you got to give back and make your customers and your player base and the community feel like you guys have supported us, so like we can give you a lot of stuff for free. It's not going to break the game as long as they're not giving out insane amounts of things that just shifts metas, but just enough to show that okay, they do care and they're giving back. And it does feel like this year they nailed it. Where we're getting things that people have been asking for, and like Barry said, that little part, that mechanic of switching, I guess, the extra event currency into relics. Now, tell us what it's like, Barry, because I've never experienced that. I've never maxed an event, but getting that is huge. Like getting thousands of relics, because again, you're a paying customer. That is a different category of their demo, and they're catering to that as well. It's like if you spend a lot of money and you buy all the packs and you have extra resources, they'll be converted to something useful, and those relics again will be multiple copies of heroes down the road, whether it be the Russells or the Drakes or whatever it may be, or the Sherlocks. But I think they did everything. They did the mid spenders, I think, and again, you mentioned it earlier, but that gap that people often complain about, I think it's they're vocal, but that's part of the game. Unfortunately, when you have a pay to win model, the people that are right in the middle will feel that tension the most. I feel of that gap widening, because as these events will cater to people that are their highest spenders, like converting currency into relics, and that just lets them push furthermore. I think the only real solution is one, understanding it's a pay to win, and I guess it's just managing expectations, because you really can't expect to keep up with someone that's spending more money than you, and they have every right to. Every person has the right to earn their own money and spend their own money how they want, and for you to try to want to be like, well, it's got to be even playing ground. If you want even playing ground, go play Dota or go play another skill-based game where it's, you know what I mean? Play something that is strictly, money's not quite the barrier to entry, right? Where the competition is not really based off of how many things can you buy in a given amount of time. So I think it's a little bit about managing expectation. I could be really raining down on the chat and just suck it up, but I think there is something to be said there about just the expectation of, pay to win. There's a clear distinction between middling spenders, dolphins free to play, and then you got your whales and your megs that are they're investing a lot of their own money into the game, right? So anyways, that's my rant.
Well, there's even a difference in each one of those categories. I mean, the smallest of dolphins is different from the biggest of dolphins, and I mean, a VIP 13 only gets you so far when you're going against people like accounts like GDPs, where you can literally, oh, what's your team? Hold on, I got a counter for that. What's your team now? Oh, I'll just switch these heroes around. Oh, I need 4 crowns. I'll just put 5 on just in case. It's like I think some of the reason people see this is what everybody else is getting and I don't. But when you actually break it down value-wise, what we've gotten in the past 2 weeks, just going back to what Joon was saying about the Ada copies. We've seen Ada and Heroic Miracle. I think it was Christmas. I think it was Christmas or Chinese New Year, and Ada and Amun-Ra was there and in the altar. And that was just amazing. It was one time, I'm pretty sure, she was in there. Every other time we have seen Ada copies in events, she has at the minimum been $70, upwards of $200 behind the paywall. And we are essentially getting, 3 copies? 2 copies, I guess you'd say. If you're lucky, you could get 3 with the chests and stuff like that. But, I mean, you're getting 2 free copies, 100%. This wine cooking raft, it's not as good as possibly the what was it, the Chinese New Year fireworks festival? Or is that I forget which event that was. Do you guys remember?
That was fireworks, so it's probably Chinese New Year, I'm guessing.
Where you could literally do both sides, I think. You got pretty close free to play. This one does feel like you will get one side done free to play with some side rewards in the other one. But again, I mean, the rewards, you get an Ada or an Amun-Ra. Depends on what you need, depending on if you're going for Sealand 20 and Dark. You want that Amun-Ra. But yeah, like Drew was saying, they're literally starting to give these Ada copies out. Yes, she is not absolutely required in the PvP anymore, but she can fit in just about most servers. One Ada will still be on the good majority of teams, just like one Amun-Ra will most likely be on a lot of teams too. And so just the sheer value of free things we've been getting, including the Be With Us, I mean, it's just tons of resources. I think I broke down in the first week how many resources we got. And yes, sometimes you have to spend some resources, but in good majority, you just got positive resources, not even counting the flips. I mean, I would say I feel like moving forward, the events will be more on this scale where it's not like this amazing, oh my god, look at everything we get for free. It's going to be, I feel like, more, oh, this was a good event. That just, no, it felt good. It was a good event. I mean, you see what they're doing with Imp's Adventure. Now, every time Imp's Adventure comes around, it's actually really exciting. It's an extra 5-star copy.
Oh, I love that event.
It feels so good. And it's like, I mean,
It does.
I don't think we have to play the game of I have to save for this event or I'll be behind anymore. I think that's a big difference of there needs to be a slight difference in mentality that the players have where you need to more or less make the choice yourself if it's worth it for your account to do this event. Is it going to make you better? Is it going to make you progress better? Or do I wait and gamble? And I think that gambling is going to be less of a gamble moving forward. Again, that might be some optimism on my side. Do I think the Christmas hero is going to be a meta hero? Possibly. Granted, it might be a light assassin, so we don't know how that might go. So I don't know. We'll have to see another assassin in the mix. But I mean, like in the future events coming up, we should see a forest assassin. So is all these assassins that are coming out? Is that going to make for a better PvP meta too, where you can actually put more of them in your lineup? Is it going to be more flexible? I mean, I've been really excited about all the events that have come out lately. I don't know about your guys' opinion as far as that goes, but as a spender and a free-to-play, depending on which account I'm on, they've all felt pretty good so far.
Yeah. I think you talked about gambling and taking a risk. I think now more than ever, it's true that you can skip over a non-light and dark hero. And if they end up being amazing, like Unimax was or Garuda is, or
Sherlock.
Yeah, Sherlock, it's less of an issue because you mentioned Imp's Adventure. Imp's Adventure is a guaranteed 5-star copy as soon as it hits elite shards. It's there in a chest. And I think of all the chests I've got, and I was like, I'm going to build Delasium. I'm going to build Delasium. Yeah. And then I never open the chests. And this is probably the trick you guys should do. Only open the chest when you're certain. Because now I'm like, oh, wait, maybe, no, it's going to be Olivia now. I've changed my mind.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And because Drake comes along and I don't need that PvE damage from Delasium anymore. Because I hold myself on a different ground. I don't care about Flame Shrine. I'm not like you guys. I got in trouble actually for my comeback radio. They were like, "Whoa, dude, you only did 2 Flame Shrine attacks," and I was like, "Okay, guilty as charged." But anyway, I care about PvP. I was gonna say the whole like skipping events thing. You don't feel so bad anymore. And actually, you mentioned the assassin meta. Here's one perspective that just hit me that I didn't really think about. We're at the point where you'll notice they rotate the hero classes. And when they started releasing assassins and new assassins was like 2.5, 3 years ago. So it's been ages since we had new assassins. So it's only natural that they get power creeped out. So we all have this negative view of assassins. But when was the last time they made a new assassin? Was it like Amavor? I mean, yeah, sure, there's Nakia. But even then, she was more like a support hero than a proper assassin. The Seer, did she really do much for the game? Yeah, when she came out. But then, no, not really. So, actually, we're hitting this wave of new heroes coming out, which is going to be quite exciting. Because the same happened, I think, it was, when was... There was a time, I think it was just after Valentino came out, when Valentino and Jara came in quick succession, the people were like, oh, whoa, mages have sucked for so long. Now we've got a mage meta.
Yeah.
And I think that same mindset might start happening with Assassin now. It'd be fun to see.
To touch on the Assassin, it's in a really interesting place because if you look at people's techs, I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast, but people's guild tech hasn't been flushed out for Assassins. So that currently, and this might be a really, really short window of time we're talking about, maybe a month or two as people grind back up their guild points or maybe reinvest, start shifting from other techs. But there's an opportunity right now for running the Nikias, the Faith Blades, and the Drakes, because a lot of these heroes have not had that node in advanced tech for reduced damage against assassins, or people might be holding assassins thinking, well, I still need the 225,000 just to get the base tech going. Because I've spent all those in other places, right? For anti-twine or anti-stun or whatever it may be, right? So it's interesting. There's a small little window there of a month or two, I think, where people have to adjust. They have to see, are the heroes going to be part of the meta? And my tech. I don't have any tech for I was on an account the other day, and then we did some Aspen Dungeon, and it's like, oh, Faithblade just died, and it's like, oh, okay, wait,
no tech.
It has no tech. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a small little thing that
I was talking about that today because I was like, I want to try Drake and Aspen, but I can't because I really don't have the tech for it. And you actually brought up a good point. The secondary tech, you might have enough because like I don't even have enough right now to build up the first tier of all the guild tech there. But we also have to consider nobody has assassin secondary tech on their other classes to protect from that damage. And a lot of people don't have assassin secondary tech to reduce the damage from warriors, rangers, etc. And that's a really tough one because you got to realize before it was easy. You just pick whatever class you are and then you do the other two. So if you're a ranger, you do warrior and mage. You're set. Now you're throwing in, now I also have to invest 20 points in assassin tech? Not many people are going to do that right now. And I feel like there's going to be a lag where if you can make an assassin team work, you're just absolutely going to decimate the other team because of that damage reduction.
Yes.
Or lack thereof.
And I don't know how we spoke on, like, again, I haven't had much gameplay. You guys are far more experienced there for Drake as far as Drake goes, but I don't know if there ever be a high DPS sustaining assassin they'll introduce over the course of next year, if a lot of assassins are in the pipeline. But if you think of the position assassins have going forward, it's amazing because they can get DR from all the factions that matter, or all that. You can get the anti-warrior, you can get the anti-ranger, you can get the anti-mage.
Yeah.
You're always lacking something against your own, and that's the way they design it, right? Assassins, you can't get DR against assassins, and that makes sense just thematically. But assassins being such a forgotten part of the game for so long has actually put them in a position that's really powerful right now moving forward. Because if you can get DR for all the three powerful other classes, that ends, because you probably won't need it for priests, let's be honest. Priests are just going to be supports forever unless there's a Vesa resurgence, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
but you get the anti-warrior, the anti-mage, right? And the anti-ranger, if you get those 3 DRs max, now again, that's going to take a long time, but if you were to move your resources over and you had a full assassin team, or maybe a core assassin team, I think that's exciting. And who knows if that'll happen, but the tech has an advantage. It does have an advantage on the meta because we've been so focused on the other classes. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it also raises an interesting point to mention Drake once again. He strips damage reduction. So like he can render like people's just guild tech like that. It's just
that's so true.
Yeah. So if that does
it's
become
so
a
great.
problem,
Imagine complaining about
other assassins.
Like the one hero that everyone was like, nah, he's garbage. Why would they do that? Give us Russell instead. But we've had more stuff to talk about with Drake than the hero that is behind the paywall. And there's just less people testing it. But it just seems that Drake has he's a topic of discussion. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he's more fun.
He looks amazing. Let's be honest. Yeah. Drake, he's one of my top designs in the game. He just looks amazing. Like, who doesn't like a dragon?
Oh yeah, the look of him is cool. Well, let's see what his skin looks like though.
Oh, here comes that paywall talk again.
Yep. It'll have speed on it, just like carries.
Yep.
But yeah, I was actually just thinking about that assassin video we were referencing earlier, where they had the 3 faith blades. I'm like, honestly, could you imagine like 2 Drake, like an extra Drake on that team instead of the Ada or something like that? Like, that sounds pretty nasty because round 1 you're essentially guaranteeing like 2 kills at that point. Because the first Drake goes before anybody else guaranteed. The second Drake will go before anybody else guaranteed. That could almost one-shot a hero. It really could, especially when that hero is a Belrain, and then you're wasting her first round of burst healing from her death passive. That instantly just weakens the other team. And then, of course, those Faith Blades just going to town, too, on those carries. Because I don't know if you've seen, but Faith Blades shred through carries as well. That faction advantage is disgusting, and nobody has anti-assassin tech right now.
Oh,
No
I
one
know.
gets it, you know.
Yeah, if I noticed this with Russell actually. You said that classes can't protect against themselves. That's one reason Russell eats through carries so easily,
Mm-hmm.
is because just carries can't protect against that.
Yep, can't protect against
So
rangers.
yeah, and the thing I like about Faithblade is me and Megatherium were talking about this back in March. I think it was pre-lockdown. It might have even been in January. We were talking about this team where he was using a Faithblade, and I was like, well, okay, the Faithblade is really interesting, but why? And Faithblade is quicker than carry. Faithblade also CCs, and with the
Mm-hmm.
Rui Scepter, this is before the Celestial Island update, so there was no speed tie issue. But if you're the attacker, that Faithblade, oh no, even as the defender, it doesn't matter. No, a carry just can't outspeed Faithblade for speed.
No.
So if you've got the Receptor on your Faithblade, and now that people are actually actively getting rid of their guild tech and removing their CC protection so they can build Assassin,
Yeah.
and if damage reduction against Assassin becomes even more important, they're going to get rid of that stun and petrify protection to protect against Assassins, which makes people more like the chance of stunning someone's higher. And I'll fight a Cruise sometimes and be like, oh, god damn it, and get stunned by this Cruise. And if Faithblade can do that before carry and stun the carries, it's something definitely worth thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you were talking about with carries right there, I didn't even think about. I'm like, yeah, you could run a Rui on a Faithblade, but then you get the energy drained and then he does nothing. What if you pair him with Drakes, a Drake and a Russell or something like that? Chances are someone's going to die and you're going to be back at 100% energy.
Well, here's the really cool thing. I had a friend who we were theory crafting this. This is a ridiculous idea, and I don't even know if anyone's even spoken about it because it's so ridiculous. Building a Russell as slow as possible, so that Russell will kill something really late.
Yep, at the end of the round, essentially.
Yep. So he's slower than carries, all the carries, so
Uh-huh.
that no carry can energy steal your Faithblade, and then Faithblade goes quicker, so there is no actual
counter.
window
Yep.
for a carry to take that energy away from the Faithblade.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. I think that's... Faithblade's that one hero where it feels like every time a hero comes out, it's like, but can Faithblade work? Someone out there is like, I'm going to try a Faithblade. Can he work? He could be work. I mean, because he still does have some of the highest burst damage in the game. He really does. It's crazy. Especially round after round actives, too, in this meta that has carries where people just keep on dying over and over and over again. I mean, I want to build a Faithblade eventually. I think it would be fun to play around with him. Plus, he's
next
stun immune
for
too,
me.
so even if you are earlier in the game, you don't care about Cruce at that point when you're talking about your Faithblade. He has so much holy damage too. Wow, 70%. Wow, I didn't even realize
And
that part.
his active is really good too. It goes through I think 3 layers, so it can
Armor
shoot right through
ignoring,
unbending. No? That is three components to the active. I mean I just built my Faithblade this week for my Aspen Dungeon team,
Yeah.
and I've been testing him on the friends list on my main account. He's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
you need a lot of moving pieces to get him to work. You really need some synergy there, but
Yeah.
he's just a fun hero to watch. If he can just one shot at least one of the 2 targets he hits, and you just see his energy go back up, and you're like, oh, I just hope I get to see another round, and then just see him do the same thing again. So he's one of those heroes there's something you said about heroes that the experience of watching them as a player. DA kind of has that kind of vibe where you see her get hit with a lot of damage, her energy builds up, so she just throws these crazy actives. Heroes like that are just, they may not be meta, but I mean, I hold them dear to my heart. I still have my DA. Just watching DA go off like that, it's definitely something to be said about just the coolness factor of some heroes being able to kind of pop off.
Yeah. And especially now, I mean, one thing we should probably transition to now is talking about the new upgraded artifacts and how they also play a factor in this. Because I was just thinking, a Faithblade with the Punisher of Immortal, how many attacks that goes off on an active? Because you're getting an extra attack now when you do crit, and he's gonna crit. Like, he's gonna crit on that active and just deal some crazy damage. But the one I really wanted to talk about is the potential of Demon Bell, the Splendid Demon Bell, even the lower tiers, even the ones where, it gives you a 100% chance to give 10 points of energy to everybody, but then also an additional 30 or 60% chance to give another 10 energy. I mean, I don't think even the biggest of whales have enough demon bells to make the dream team happen. Because what I was talking about is a PvE dream team where you have 5 fully upgraded demon bells.
Boo!
And you have your scary army just using an active every single round. I was like, oh my goodness, you have 5 of these? But that means you have 20 demon bells just sitting around. What do you think about overall Ormus? Because in my opinion, I feel like none of them so far are game breaking. They give you some nice slight advantages. Some of them are amazing in PvE, but other ones seem just situational.
Oh, I hate it. It's the most disgusting event concept ever. Okay, you've all got this thing that you paid $250 for. I know. Why don't you feed another one to it to make it slightly better? It's just. Am I allowed to swear?
Go for it.
Oh, it's just pissing away money. It's just like Demon Bell is a great artifact, and loads of people like running multiple energy carries right now. And if you are at a point where you can feed Demon Bells to Demon Bells, okay, good for you. But like if you watched someone do this, like if you saw a new player about to feed a Demon Bell to make their other Demon Bell 6-star, you would die inside. It would kill you. But now it's become this concept of, oh yeah, we can feed it to make it slightly cooler. Oh, just for this extra 20% of energy. And I mentioned before, sometimes I don't even want my heroes to have energy. So I hate it with a passion. And I think the only artifacts that really get me a bit tingly is Antler's Cane and Punisher of Immortal, because at least for how long I've been playing, they've given multiple copies of these away for free. And they're good for PvE. And this is what I'm going to say: at PvE, you can afford to have just one hero focused with all that like going down. Because I'm not going to use Antler's Cane in PvP. Or maybe actually that might be a fun little mad amount of damage, but not when sustain's so important. But you look at someone as well like the Ruyi Scepter, right? I fought against a Sherlock, and I was like, oh, this Sherlock is turning me into doves way more than any Sherlock I've ever thought. What is going on here? And then it dawned on me, this guy's just upgraded it to a splendid one. Good for him. Good for you, Mr. Whale.
Yeah, and it's hard because you can't tell. I wish they would add like a shiny effect to the hero or something where like you can visually see, oh, this person has an upgraded artifact. That would be so helpful because you have zero way of knowing. You can't inspect other people's heroes. You can't do anything like that. But I do agree. I mean, the two that they've probably given out the most are Punisher of Immortal and Kiss a Ghost. Plus, it's the ones people have gone for and chosen the most in the old school because, I mean, for the longest time, Punisher was the go-to PvE item. Now it's kind of drifted more to Kiss a Ghost and Antler's Cane. So, like me personally, exactly what you said. In PvE, if they're PvE artifacts, I mean, it's fine because I literally had 3 Punisher staffs just sitting around that I don't use. And I said, sure, why not? I will upgrade it, make my 1 of 2 PvE damage dealers that much better. Did the same with Antler's Cane. I had 1 extra one from this event. I'm like, sure, I'll upgrade it to the first tier. Am I going to do it with things like Demon Bell that are the real pay-to-win artifacts? Am I going to do it on Crown? Crown's got to be some god tier change to make people use multiple crowns up. I don't see that happening, but I am interested in things like Augustus Magic Ball and Torch.
Yeah, Magic Stone Sword too. I think ever since I learned about pay-to-win artifacts and I read the stats on Magic Stone Sword, it's never been the end-all be-all. It was always Demon Bell and the other more specialized ones. It just like does a little bit of everything. But I'm always such a huge fan of anything like effective HP in game design. Effective HP is just so like the damage reduce is such an appealing stat to have in a game. And when I saw like a little bit of attack, a little bit of CC immunity, a little bit of DR, I was like, oh, I'm sold. I need this, And that was like the goal. Like I was like, if I'm gonna start whaling, we're gonna get an MSS. But it'll be interesting. The AMB, the MSS, as well as, I mean, I'm kind of worried for the crown, to be honest. I want to actually speak on that earlier when we were talking about Russell and I just run with crown, and it just seems like the de facto kind of just toss it on any hero, right? It seems like Balrain's the enabler for any hero. It just seems crown has filled that same role. It's like, is this hero almost viable? I'll toss crown on him. Oh my god, he's amazing, right? So it's kind of like this cookie cutter situation going on now, and I'm worried. Although there aren't actually, I guess after this event there are a bunch of crowns that are going to start floating around because of the chests. But what the future for crown and the artifact meta is kind of going to look like for heroes, because some heroes will, if it brings heroes from the elite pool into the meta, that'd be great, like a jar or something. I don't know, so something wild like that, or Starlight. Like if it's going to bring something back from the dead, that'd be cool. But what it's going to do is just going to exasperate the power of something that's almost broken already or very strong, and making it completely viable so it can fight off against the carry marks or the Russell bursts or the Garuda bursts or what have you. But I agree half with what NK is saying. Like it really does feel bad if you spend a lot of money on pay to wins, and now they're kind of forcing your hand and going like, listen, if you want to compete in PvP, you got to get like a double Demon Bell or a triple Demon Bell, a triple Receptor, and it's like, really? Come on, DH Games. But the other side is, I hope that last month is a great indication of where they're taking this event, or in conjunction, not Ormus itself, but the 3 loops to get a pay to win, such as Torch last month.
Yep.
If that is going to be what we're going to see, maybe bi-monthly, every quarter, I think that's a healthy way to kind of balance that, the feels bads of like, dude, I just got I don't even have a Demon Bell yet. I'm rocking magic sources on all my round 1, they need to do an active type situation. So like, when I get my first Demon Bell, and then it's just like, wait, now I gotta get the Ormus thing, because that's like part of the meta, like it's gonna feel bad, right? But if they do give us a little trickle down from like, you need to get 3 of 1 to make it really truly powerful, or maybe just 2 copies to make it kind of strong, I think we're getting a little bit of both. But yeah, I agree. It does feel bad, because I mean, I wailed for, I think, was it either Punisher or it might have been MSS. I'm not too sure which one I wailed on anymore, but it didn't feel great, right? The campaign events of long ago when we had to spend $200 just to get 1 artifact, it's like, it feels bad, man.
Yeah, which the one bonus is they are giving a lot more free-to-play pay-to-win artifacts lately. I mean, that's literally, I would have never upgraded an Antlers, but I'm like, okay, I have a spare Antlers now. But I really do hope the future 4, because I think we have 4 left, right? We got Crown, MSS, and then we have Augustus and what's the last one?
Torch?
Torch, yeah.
Yep.
I'm really hoping they're more geared towards PvE stylish buffs, because I don't mind that. That's cool. Make my PvE damage numbers bigger, help people out. And then again, if it's not an artifact, you're like a torch. Nobody uses a torch right now. Nobody does. But if they make it semi-useful, maybe it's something like, if you get a burn or dot on you, you all of a sudden get 10% all damage reduced. Could be something kind of cool like that. Well, would that be busted probably on a tier 3? Yeah. Never mind. No. Completely ignore that one.
Who even has 2 wildfire torches?
That's true, because they haven't really given many out for free. They've given them as options, but there's usually a better option to pick when it's like that one plus another one. I do hope they go back to offering 2 every single campaign event. I really liked when they were given 2 at a time, 2 different options, because it cycled through them much faster for you to actually use your universal crystals. Because like for me, I don't think I bought one in like 3 months now, 4 months. I just don't think it's happened, and I've had the crystals. It's just not one I want. So,
what are your thoughts? We're talking about artifacts here, and I think it's a nice little segue. I was kind of expecting a pay to win, to be totally honest. The leaks weren't really suggesting that when we got the initial leaks. I was like, oh, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe it's a surprise type of thing in the second week. Maybe, I don't know. But it ended up being that we didn't get any pay to win, right? And we did get Torch last year, and that was kind of a flop. Now, I don't know if that feedback from the Torch being like, it never got used. It was just a complete dud. Like, the only use for it right now is really Aspen Dungeon, and that's such a small percentage of the player base that it's non-existent, essentially, right? So, when do you guys think we get like a new pay to win? Like, would that be something like a Mid-Autumn Festival, like on the way up to Christmas? Because that's probably the next big event, right? That we're expecting is the Mid-Autumn Festival, I guess, in the fall, into Halloween, and then into Black Friday, into Christmas, into Chinese New Year. But another pay to win entering, the options. Like, was actually something that I was expecting, but I don't know how you guys thought about that.
I was completely expecting a new pay-to-win artifact. Absolutely. Just based on track record. But now I think about it, I've been loving these choose your own reward chests. And do we actually need another artifact? I don't think so. I think if they just keep on giving choose your own chests, it's going to make things a lot nicer for people. Because if they released a new pay to win artifact, um, if it's not as good as something like Demon Bell or as useful as Receptor, people that spend are going to get disappointed. And I think there's a lot of people that spent to get Wildfire Torch because Valkyrie existed, and they were like, "Oh my word, damage over time is so horrendous. I need this to protect against Valkyrie." But the moment Valkyrie dropped from the meta, Wildfire Torch becomes nigh useless if it wasn't already. And I would like there not to be another artifact for ages.
Yeah, I agree.
That's from a personal standpoint, because they've already got a lot. This Ormus workshop means we want to focus on collecting others of the same rather than new things.
Yep, I agree.
I
would love to see just like one artifact a year. I think one would be good. I mean, we're already 6 months out from Crown, or not Crown, Rui, right? We had Chinese New Year.
New.
So yeah,
Yes.
we're about 6 months. That's the longest we've gone without a new artifact, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's impressive because we did get a bunch though. The Black Friday with the crown, and right after that we got reset. Well, not right after, but 3 months after. But yeah, it has been 6 months. But maybe the Ormus was kind of that balancing, right? They were trying to balance the scales there, get the pendulum to swing the other way. Of okay, we got a nice selection now. Now collect a bunch of them. So yeah, it's possible.
And the one thing I do see about all these extra things that we need to upgrade, and they're putting more game modes in where we need more than just our 6 heroes, I do feel like that does lean away from the possibility of increasing enables anytime soon. Honestly, I would love to see E5 be pretty much the highest level for at least another year, because the way they're going, we already have purple stones, we now have, or pink. We have pink artifacts. I mean, the next thing I think is going to happen is we're going to have something to upgrade our gear even further to be more powerful. I don't like that because I'm already not having enough 6-star gear, period. But I feel like that's the next thing they will do, and I'd almost gladly accept that if it was to choose between that or E7. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Both sound bad.
Did they not leak that during the Q&A? Did they not say like we have something exciting in store? It's not a hero, but it has something to do with the gear. Or am I misremembering? I think
no, it was just something we had
something
else in store. Yeah, but they didn't talk about it. But they did say enables were not on the table right now.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel if they released a new enable, a new level, they would completely alienate new players.
Yeah.
Because E5 is a long stretch. It's going to take people years to get to a full E5 team if you don't spend any money.
Yep.
And if they want to alienate people, go ahead, bring out E6, E7, E8, because it's just more and more resources to have a top meta hero. And all the testing suggests that just one, the reason I tell people to get an E3 hero is because one E3 hero will eat a team of 10 stars. It just if it's built well enough, it should just wipe the floor with the 10-star heroes. And if they do that, where E7 comes out and whoops, an E7 hero makes all your E5s obsolete until you've got a full team of E7s. It's like, go away, because we'll see heroes like Mim just become good again for some reason. I'll be like, forget it, go away. Why would you do this?
I mean, even for whales and late game players, you know what E7 means? I regress half of the heroes I spent the last year to 2 years building. Like right here on my screen, I have all my light heroes at the top and then everything else. Essentially, I'm regressing these 8 heroes down the bottom to E7 my team. Because if you don't have a full E7 6-core unit hero lineup for regular arena, you're just not going to do anything. It's what happened when E5 came out. So many people regressed E3s just to instantly power up their team. And I feel like at this point that would feel very bad, especially with the rework of Trial of Champion coming up. the introduction of Interdimensional Arena and the Guild Wars rework, where you actually need strong teams. I don't know if you need more than one in Guild Wars, actually. I didn't look at that update too much just yet.
Yeah, there's again that one's just too much information. I've not even sucked my teeth into that. There's just way too much things going on with 50, 60 teams in every location. I'm like, I'll just work with it when we get it.
No, yeah, definitely. But I feel like we're kind of deviating a bit here now, but do you guys have any closing thoughts at all, MK? Anything you want to talk about from this event, the heroes, anything just to reiterate to everybody?
Well, actually, one thing I noticed, we just going back to Russell. I wanted to say this when we were talking about Russell, but we segued on. Russell counters Russell. The Dazzle, I don't know if you've seen the passives, but the passives are just all over the place when he's Russell, and it just makes no sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make. I totally know why it's happening, but when you build a hero to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go kill these lower HP heroes, and he's just like, nope, no, it's everywhere, and I'm like, god damn it. So I noticed actually when I built my Russell that I was beating more Russells because I could just dazzle them. Like, that's good. And here's the thing that I wanted to talk about, because this matters a lot to me, for the meta especially. If everything is moving towards low HP heroes, you as players need to absolutely know going in who your lowest 2 HP heroes are. Who are the ones that are going to get dazzled? Who are the ones that are going to get focused by Drake? And that should be your primary thought when team building. I mean, when I started with YouTube, it used to be who's going to get stunned by Valentino. Then it kind of moved, I would say, to who's going to get taunted by Unimax or who's going to get petrified by Amun-Ra. And now it's who's going to get targeted by this. And Magic Stone Sword, you talk about, Joon, how you like, I don't know, what was the word you used to describe it? Active HP or...
effective HP.
Effective HP.
More than it's on the stats. Yeah.
Magic Stone Sword gives damage reduction without giving HP. So you could potentially somewhere with Magic Stone Sword come up with some kind of tanky hero build that has low HP. That's like, come at me, Russell. Come at me, Drake. I mean, sure, as soon as Drake hits it, that's all out the window. Your damage reduction is gone.
Doesn't matter.
If it's still a hero trying to go like, come at me, Russell, I will take this. It could be interesting to see just a hero that could take that kind of stuff and take a focus. It might be. This sounds ridiculous, but with people going for double Sherlock builds now, what if you made a low HP Sherlock with Magic Stone Sword? I don't know, because he removes the Drake marks. Oh, does he remove the Drake debuff though? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't think I've tested that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I should go just do a fight right now and check.
It's very rare for him to be the lowest health, so it's like...
Yeah. But if you want to try and...
Oh, man.
Like, Magic Stone Sword could make... It's an interesting idea. I don't know, but making sure you're...
that would be really good. Build him full glass cannon, essentially, because the bonus of that is he will essentially heal for more damage based on his attack anyway. And that heal is just so powerful. As long as he doesn't get focused too much and he just runs out of cards too fast. But you could build him like speed with Augustus Magic Ball. That way he's not getting HP off that either.
Yeah. Honestly, I would only do it if you had 2 Sherlocks.
Oh, yeah. Definitely if it's 2 Sherlocks. I wouldn't do it with 1. But a second one, that could be a pretty cool thing to do.
And once he's dead, he helps carries get back up.
Man, because that was the whole point we were talking with Russell and everything too. It's when you're going against a Sherlock, basically Sherlock's their last target alive because you're just not attacking him, which is good because Sherlock wants to be attacked. He wants to tank that damage, reset his health, take away your health. But if now you have a counter to the counter of the counter, and that's what's so much fun, I feel like, about this meta is there is no one lineup that is the end-all be-all. It's a constantly changing meta of what is everybody using now? Okay, I'll swap to this. Or I'm going to run this on defense, and then my offensive team is completely different. Man.
Yeah. I'm just watching a fight now to see if this actually works. I mean, I have to rely on Drake hitting Sherlock.
Yeah, which is going to take a while. Yeah.
But I think what you guys touched on there is interesting because there's the whole Sherlock thing.
Oh, wait, did it work?
It's going to be another shift. Did it?
I think it was an active skill. Damn it.
No.
Oh.
We're talking about the armor debuff, though, right?
Yeah.
Just the complete, the removal. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that floating in front of Sherlock, but I have not fought enough Sherlocks to really experience that. But he's gonna hit Orb soon, so
yeah,
I'm sure there'll be plenty of time to see the Drakes of Anniversary trickle down and beat down on the Sherlocks.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sherlock meta is coming.
It definitely
experienced
is.
him in Aspen Dungeon once or twice maybe, but seeing him, that's like the one video that that's the one stream I've done in the last couple of days where I was like, I need to make that a YouTube video just as a meme, if anything. We were up against a solo Valk maybe with a Receptor. I didn't know you can infinite dove.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys seen that? He just sits there and when
nothing
the third
happens.
attack hits, you can make him a dove again. So you just see a dove for 15 rounds. You never see it break dove. And I was like, wait, what?
And you'll never win.
But I'm one of those players that's like, I'll hear it explained to me, I'll read the skill description, and it doesn't click yet. But then when I saw that, I was like, I saw the potential. I was like, okay, this doesn't happen obviously in PvP because this is a one-on-one situation, but seeing how that could play out on the bigger scale in the PvP scene as well as the PvE, it's like, well, this hero is just broken. Like, he was reflecting, what was it, Twines on Oberons? Like, I was just having a blast using Sherlock in Aspen Dungeon, but just seeing the things, and I forget about that. Like, oh wait, he reflects CC too. There's just no CC in the meta. But if there was CC, it'd be like, nope, sorry, back at you. Like, he has so many things in his kit that he is going to be a mainstay. And I was saying, like, I think he's just like the best hero in the game right now. Now, that was prior to me experiencing Drake and Russell, and I haven't had much experience, but just seeing what a non-LD does, like every single one of his abilities is just like a wall of text. There's just so many things going on. So when that hits orbs, it's going to be fun. I mean, that's going to just be a podcast in and of itself. Just what is going on with everyone rocking the 2, the 3. I don't know how many Sherlocks we're going to get to eventually, right? But it's exciting, I think.
It's interesting, though, because I agree he is the most powerful hero in the meta right now. But I think it's a good thing that a support is one of the best heroes in the meta and not damage dealers for once. Because it makes to the point where on defense, sure, you're probably going to run into a triple or quadruple whale Sherlock team. You're never going to win. It's going to go 15 rounds. You lose automatically. You just don't attack those teams. But on offense, you can't go too heavy on Sherlocks because then it's going to be the opposite. You're not going to have the damage to kill the other team, and then you're going to be sitting there losing at round 15. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting is we should have the new Trial of Champion out by then. And like you said, in 2 months, because they're giving all the new heroes on like a 2-month, 3-month cycle in Prophet Orbs now. 3 months, I think, right? Pretty much. We're going to see a ton of them come 2 months from now. Like, a ton. You get 4 free copies from doing the full event. Honestly, that's what everybody should be saving for the next Prophet Orb. Everybody who wants the Sherlock needs to save up 320 orbs. Chances are there'll probably be a pay-to-win artifact in that event, too, because almost every week there is a bonus event nowadays, too. So that's one thing I really want to at least end on, is that there's so many events now that have extra tacked-on events. You remember last year? You pretty much knew it was coming. I was like, oh, Prophet Orb event. There's going to be no side events. We got Prophet Orb and, like, Shelter. That's it. Now it's like, oh, hey, by the way, here's a campaign event for you as well. You can get this. Oh, by the way, here's also this event tacked on. It's like they just keep giving more, especially when you compare it to last year. I just feel like it's a very good way to move forward, which makes me believe the big events won't be as big, but the average event will be much better than normal.
Yeah. By the way, I just tested the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't remove the debuff.
No?
It sticks. No, it sticks.
It does not. Drake OP.
Well, again, you got to see if Drake's being used, and that's that counterplay right there.
I mean, the issue was Drake got it on him. The final attack, it was like it stuck, and then Russell did an active, and then killed him. So, and then I won. So it was like, okay.
Well, see, here's the thing. Straight from MK, he's getting us the pre-meta build 2 months down the road. If everybody's building Sherlocks, just build Drakes, and you'll be fine. Because Drake will be that counter. Because he will just shred the Sherlock to pieces before he can heal. Just combine them with the Russell. You'll be good.
Yeah, but that is once you've killed everyone else, though.
Yeah. Or as GDP says, yeah, just make sure you still have the double Terra. Everybody that's always giving crap to Terras, double Terra is by far one of the tankiest and I feel like versatile heroes you can throw in a lineup. But in the current meta, it's really, really hard to fit all these different heroes into your team. So, yeah.
Tara's bonkers.
Yeah, Tara can go crazy. We could probably do like a whole video on that next week or something like that if we want to. But I think the plan moving forward, guys, is we're going to try to be doing this every Monday. If MK, I don't know what your schedule is going to be looking like, but as always.
If it's this time, that's perfect. I play Dungeons and Dragons Monday afternoons. This is a good thing for me to do Monday evenings.
Yeah. So if you guys want it, let us know, and we'll have all three of us on here every Monday. Just add another stream to your weekly schedule. And if anything, we might actually consider rotating it to each other's Twitches too. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that might get messy.
I know, just because of the layouts and everything and all the cameras. And
as long as you're going to manage everything.
The amount of time I put in to set this up. I wouldn't want to force that on anybody else, honestly. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. So let us know what you want us to talk about next week. We'll consider it. We'll try to keep these to like an hour and a half. I feel like that's a good amount of time for all three of us to kind of talk. Leave if you check out the video, I'm going to upload this tomorrow. And if you're on YouTube, hi YouTube. Leave comments down below if you have certain topics you want us to talk about. We'll try to play it by ear every week. Try not to just harp on the same things over and over. But hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and we'll see you next time.